Hello, welcome. Just going to let people in, make sure my hair's not fluffed. I was really hoping that I'd managed to frame the map without getting too much stuff in shot, but it hasn't worked. Damn it. Hello. Welcome back, Julia. I hope you're feeling better. I mean, I hope you're not feeling as stressed as you were last week. We are going to, I think I said did I say the band the end of last week? I know I said, oh, it was really great to use a piece of equipment, and let's do that again next week, and I forgot which piece of equipment I've said. So I have planned a session around the band. I hope that's okay. Don't worry if you don't have a band, or if you don't want to work with the band, all of the exercises will be, you can do bandless if you don't have the bandwidth. But I thought it was quite fun when we did the band before. And sometimes, you know, it's just quite nice, the stretchiness that the band, or the resistance that the band offers us is quite nice. I hope you're all feeling well. We're going to start standing, as you've all sort of vaguely predicted by not sitting down. But you can, I think that's everyone actually, so I don't need to wait for much longer. So let's just start. If you do fancy starting against the wall, it's quite nice to do that, and I am going to do that. But if you don't have a space of wall that you can comfortably locate yourself next to, don't worry, because we're just going to do some nice breathing and just grounding work. Trying to find your spine, trying to find our breathing in alignment. So take yourself either to your comfortable standing position with your feet hip width apart, nice and lifted and tall, or align yourself against the wall with your feet hip width apart, but making sure that your knees are softly bent. So try to feel that we're not going to lock the knees, whether you are standing or freestanding rather. I'm trying to get rid of that extra extraneous stuff in the background. Freestanding or against the wall. Soften the knees wherever you are. Ground through all 10 toes wherever you are. So whether you've got the wall behind you or whether you're freestanding, let's connect first down through the feet. I want you just to lift up the toes and then feather them down. And do that a few times, and really slowly try to see if you can connect independently and individually into all 10 toes. Notice if one foot is a little bit more scrunched than the other. My left foot doesn't feel like it can isolate the toe movements, but my right foot's a bit more pliant. So just do a few of those, seeing if you can connect from the little toe to the big toe. Lifting them all up. Then see if you can release down big toe to little toe, sort of fanning from the inside out. Notice whether your legs are trying to get involved. See if you can keep the knees centered while you're moving just the toe joints. So it shouldn't be the ankle joints that want to get involved. And then just release them all down, and notice if your weight shifts, particularly if you're freestanding. Notice if you feel your weight has shifted forward and back while you've been experimenting. And then wherever you are, bring your awareness to the back of your body. So if you do have the wall behind you, you can just actually connect and see whether we're all going to roll the shoulders, whether you're freestanding or not. So see if you can, if you are against the wall, each time you roll the shoulders back, you're creating a little bit more surface area that's connecting with the wall. See if you can find and then maintain that width across the back of your body. Obviously, we're not working against the wall. I want you just to roll as far as you can, connecting and opening into the wall, as opposed to squeezing and resisting against it. And then settling the shoulders, shoulder blades on the back of the body, let the arms lengthen down. Let's just bring a little bit of awareness into those fingertips first. So really spread the fingertips. It doesn't really matter where you want to place them. You can have it in front of you or down by your side. I want you just to see if you can really find the energy in between each finger, and then make a fist. And then again, spread the fingers, reaching for all available space around your hand. And then make a fist. And then it might be easier to bring the hands out in front of you, spreading the fingers, and then we're going to just lengthen our thumb down ever so slightly towards the floor. And I want you individually to bring your fingertips to your thumb. So let's start with your little finger to thumb, and then release. You can do it in one hand at a time if that feels better for your brain. Fourth finger, release away. Middle finger, release away. And next finger, release. See if you can do that without bringing your thumb to your finger. So we're really trying to stretch the fascia of the hand a little bit. Notice if there's any areas that feel like, ooh, can't really move that. I definitely have stiffness in my left hand, trying to move my fourth finger independently. Let's do this a few times, even if it feels slightly uncomfortable. We're not wanting pain, we want to just wake up the connective tissue of your hand and notice any kind of interesting habitual movements that you might not have known about. And then make a fist. Again, let's just circle the wrists with a fist. And then circle the other way. And then just bring your hands in their fists slightly further down to hip height. And then I want you gradually to unfurl your hands as you just roll the arms up in a little circle with the wrists, opening the fingertips up to the top, and then wrist circles all the way down. And you can do that a couple of times if you want, maybe even just one hand at a time. Settling and working into the arms and the wrists a little bit. It's quite nice if you're still against the wall to feel that sense of the shoulder blades into the back. So either one or both, maybe like a lovely little dance. Saying goodbye to the things that might have stressed you out today, welcoming in a calming sense of serenity. And then let your arms lengthen down by your side. And you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable, if you quite like that. If you're freestanding and that makes you feel in any way unsupported, obviously keep them slightly open, just looking a little bit down your nose. So we're not looking directly in front, we want to just soften the gaze a little bit. Let's breathe in and just open the arms softly out to the side. And a little umbrella breath, imagine you're inflating. And then breathe out, close. And against the wall, just feeling that sense of trying to maintain that sense of openness across the back of the body. We don't necessarily have to be touching the wall with your arms, but you just want to stay as connected and open in the back of the body as you can. 2 more, breathing in, open. Long neck, soft shoulders, breathing out, close. Last one, breathing in. Oh, someone at the door. And breathing out to close and release down. And then just allowing the arms to soften down by your side. And we're all going to do this whether you're against the wall or not. So if you're freestanding, I want you just to ever so slightly bend in the knees. So feel like you can have the tailbone still lengthening down. We're going to do a little bit of pelvic movement. So keeping the knees bent means that you can free up that movement without sort of kind of moving the legs around too much. So obviously you've got a little bit more freedom of movement when you're freestanding, but here we've got the feedback of the wall. So there's a win-win in either direction. So take a breath in, and as you breathe out, I want you to tuck your tailbone underneath you and just lengthen the pubic bone forward. And if you're against the wall, you'll feel the lumbar spine flattening against the wall. You'll feel the bottom ever so slightly wanting to peel away, but there's only so far it can go. And if you're freestanding, just imagine you're kind of whipping a tail underneath your legs. And then you're going to send it back away from you. So obviously against the wall, you can't really go that far, but I want you to feel the lumbar curve opening away from the wall. And then again, send the tailbone underneath you to close and lengthen it away. Notice, if you can, what is going on in the top half of your body. So as you're moving through the pelvis, can you keep the shoulder blades, the rib cage quite serene? Can you just isolate this movement in the pelvis and the lumbar spine? The feet are still heavy, the knees are soft. We're just warming up and mobilizing through the lower back. Let's do one more, tucking the tailbone underneath you, sending it back away, and then soften and lengthen it back so you restore rather that natural lumbar curve. So we've got the tailbone heavy, long, rib cage connected towards the back of the wall, but the lumbar spine is free. And either come away from the wall if you prefer your roll downs freestanding, or stay against the wall. We're going to come into a roll down. So take a breath in. And as you breathe out, let's peel the back of the head, the neck, the shoulder blades gradually off the wall, and then just allow the whole spine to follow. Rolling all the way down. Let your bum stay heavy into the wall if it's there. Breathing in. Breathing out, restuck. And let's do that 4 more times. So in your own time, we're not rushing out. I want you to just think about the roll down from the back of the body and the roll up from the back of the body. So imagine what's going on through the pelvis. As you're lengthening, the crown of the head is releasing forward, it's drawing the neck around the rib cage, the waist, and then the tailbone lengthens up. Breathe in. As you breathe out, the tailbone comes down, the lumbar spine restacks, then the waist, the ribs, then finally the head on top of the spine. So let's do 3 more like that. So noticing your breathing, keep on breathing. The Holy Grail in the kind of classical cueing of this is that we have one whole out breath carries us down, but don't worry, if you need an extra breath, take an extra breath. Rather than holding your breath when you're still moving, just allow the breath to come in and out of the body. And when you're finished, pause at the top in your standing position and just stay there. You can maybe even do some rising up onto your toes. A little softness of the knees, as long as that's okayed by your physio if you're seeing physio. Rising up, softly lowering down. And then I would like, if you have a band, to take the band and place it in front of you on the floor, and then stand on top of the band. I'm going to chop my head off, aren't I? Oh, okay. To walk back. So we want to be hip width apart in the band, not legs together. And just taking the edges of the band, so there's a little bit of slack. So in case that you don't want it to ping out of your hands at any point. And I just want you to notice the connection of the shoulder blades on the back with this extra kind of guidance from the band. So lift the shoulders and soften them down. And again, just lift and soften them down. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, I want you to just do a roll down with this extra guidance from the band. So at what point do you just surrender to the band and there's no more tension? You release the spine down. Breathe in at the bottom. Breathe out, begin to roll back up, tailbone comes down. We're starting to rebuild the spine, and as soon as the shoulder blades connect into the body, you might feel that little bit of tension coming back into the band. Let the shoulders completely relax and feel that nice straight line between the shoulder joint and the ankle joint. Breathing in, breathing out, eyes down, chin down. Let the shoulders just roll away from each other, or the shoulder blades rather, roll away from each other on the back. Rolling down, breathe in, breathe out. Head comes up last. Rebuild all the way before you then go down for the last time. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathe in. And rolling all the way up. Breathing in. Now as you breathe out, single arm bicep curl. So take your left arm and just bend at the elbow to bring the hand, or the fist rather, up towards the shoulder, and then resist, resist, resist on the way down. Other side on an out breath, bending at the elbow, bringing the fist towards the shoulder without moving your elbow. So we don't want to kind of lift the elbow forward. I want you to keep the elbow in your waist as you lift against the resistance, and work against the resistance on the way down as well. We're going to do 4 more on either side. So lift, relax those shoulders, nice long neck, and slowly lower. And lift if it helps to connect a little bit into your pelvic floor. See how that helps you to strengthen the movement or stabilize the body. So on the out breath, lifting up with the fist, but also drawing up into your pelvic floor, and maintain that lovely connection. As you lower, then totally release, lift. Think about the wrist alignment. See if you can keep the wrist in line with your elbow rather than allowing the wrist to ping. And lower, last one either side, bending at the elbow. And lower. Bend. And lower all the way down. Well done. Just let circles, maybe just ever so slightly, kind of little semicircles forward and back, relaxing the shoulder joints, but using a little bit of tension from the band to help you. And then just step away from your, or step off your band, and either stay standing if you prefer doing this standing, or coming down onto your knees if that's comfortable for you. So I'm doing that because, as you know, the ceiling is quite low. So I kind of have to. But if you don't have to and you like doing this standing, stay standing. So we're going to take our band quite wide, wider than shoulder width apart, and know that you can always adjust the width of your band if you need to. So I want you to accommodate your body rather than kind of bending to try and do something that doesn't feel right. If you are on your knees, thinking about cushioning the knee if you need to, and really try not to arch the back. So standing or on the knees, but particularly considering the pelvic alignment if you're on your knees. Let's take a breath in. And as you breathe out, we're going to float the arms up towards the ceiling. Now I have my fingertips long and the band looped around my thumb, but you might want to have it in your fists, whatever feels right. But I want you to think about wrist alignment, whichever you're doing. So we want to keep the wrists nice and lengthened. Breathe in here and breathe out. Let's just float it down. Thinking about the front of your body. So imagine a space between your pubic bone and your nose. I want that space to stay even throughout this movement. On your out breath, let's float the arms up. And then float them down. Last one. Float them up. And release them down. Lovely, lovely and simple. Relax the shoulders if you need to. Maybe just softly roll the head dipping from side to side. Relax the neck. Notice any kind of tension, any aching or cracking. Let's take a breath in. Now with this one, you may want to wrap the fingertips around. You're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out, you're going to float the arms up towards the ceiling. Before we bend the elbows, I want you to reach up. So imagine you're trying to touch the ceiling with your band. Reach those shoulders up towards the ears and then soften them down. So you're keeping, there's no movement in the torso, but you're moving now through the shoulder joints. So we're reaching up and then we're softening them down. One more like that. Reach and then soften. Stay lifted here, and I want you to bend the elbows to bring the band towards your forehead. And then lift. Same as last week, last time we're going to bend, and this time bring the band to the back of your head without pinging your shoulders, or pinging the rib cage forward. So see if you can maintain that little knitted rib cage down towards your hips, and lift, and then float the arms all the way down. Relax the shoulder. We're going to do that one more time, just with the bending, not with the reaching up. So breathing in. Breathing out, float the arms up. Soften the shoulders. Remember how it felt to lift up. You can do it if you want to. We're going to bend, band to forehead, and then lift. Without bobbing your head forward and back, we're then going to bring band to the back of your head. So keep the back of your head, almost press the back of your head into your band. See how that feels, and then lift, and then float the arm down. Relax. Okay, so if that is enough for your shoulder joints, I want you to stay there and not do the extension of the full stretch, which is what we're going to do next. So taking a breath in. As you breathe out, float the arms up. Soften the shoulders. Using the stretch of the band as opposed to bending the elbows or moving your head, I want you to bring the arms all the way back behind you. And then again, using the stretch of the band, lift the arms up and then float them all the way down. And again, breathing in, breathing out. Just breathe normally throughout this, really. I want you to just be conscious of your breathing. Let's reach all the way back. Notice if you've got one arm that kind of prefers this and tries to lead the movement. Breathing in, breathing out, lift. I think it's my left arm wants to be a bit eager beaver. So try and make them move at the even, same pace as each other. Last one, lift. Check in with your pelvis, rib cage, head. Are they all in alignment with each other? And lift them up. Stay there. Let's stay at the top for a moment. We're going to relax the shoulders, breathe in. As you breathe out, can you twist to the left without taking your pelvis with you? So we're just taking the rib cage. Try and have the arms in line with the shoulders rather than wandering in front of you. So you may not go very far, and then back through center. Other side, funneling the left hip back as you twist across to the right. And back through center. Let's do one more either side. Twist, twist, twist around the spine. If you want to, you can come into a little extra stretch, bringing the band alongside the rib cage. You don't have to do that if it's too much for the shoulders. Back through center. Other side, twist. This is my really tight side. And reach, if you want to. Then lift. Back through center. Release the band all the way down. If you're standing, roll yourself down. If you're on your knees, let's just come into our rest position. So everyone meet in rest position. Forehead down, knees quite nice and wide. Remember, cushion behind your thighs if you need a little bit of help in rest position, not to be uncomfortable for your knees. Or indeed, you can do it sitting on the bed if rest position isn't possible. Breathe. And then rolling up. When you're ready, Okay, so we're going to do a couple of 4-point kneeling stretches, band exercises here. One of which I just tried, and my band kept pinging. So I'm hoping that that's the dress rehearsal. I would have got rid of the pinging, but let's see. So I want you to take your band around the rib cage area, sort of bra strap area for those of you who wear a bra. Around the middle bottom of the rib cage area, and we're going to then feed the ends of the bands into your hands, and then take them so that you're just looping the end of the band, and we're going to place the palms down on the floor. So you're in 4-point kneeling from here. So you should feel just a gentle sense of resistance of the band, and I want you to sort of adjust if you need to so that you have the widest surface area of band that you can have. Okay, so I want you to really sort of feel a sense of connection to the rib cage and the band. If it helps, maybe take the band out the outside of the arm, so whichever kind of feed works for you to feel secure and also connected to your band. So let's take a breath in, and I want you just to breathe into the band. So the same as we did when we were upright the other week, breathing into the sides of the band with your lovely wide in-breath. And breathe out, just notice how that feels. So we're just going to do a couple of these breaths in the way that we normally do. So you're breathing into the back, but also into the tummy. And as you breathe out, you're lifting the abdominals, you're just allowing the rib cage to soften. So it's about rib cage awareness, really, this initial breathing. Feel the rib cage expand, feel the back of the band or the band around the back softly expanding. And last one, breathing in here and breathing out. Now take a breath in. As you breathe out, I want you to take your right hand and just thread the needle. We're going to take our right hand underneath the left. So if you need to watch for the arm movement, the left arm bends as you softly feed. You may not go very far with this thread the needle because you have your band. Breathing in here, breathing out, pressing into this left arm. We're going to open the arm up only as far as you feel comfortable without swinging the hips to the right. So we're trying to keep the hips level and centered, open. And let's go through, bending that left arm, feeding through to the right. And then back through center, thinking about the hips not swinging to the right, lifting and opening the chest. 2 more. Bend, feeding that band as you twist in the rib cage. And open. Last one. And then back through center. Now that's quite hard work for the shoulders, so let's just rest it back for a moment. You can kind of tuck your hands in so there's no resistance from the band. Really let your neck be free, maybe roll the head at the end of the spine. And then restacking when you're ready, adjusting your band if you need to, if it's got kind of tangled up. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, we're going to come to the other side. So twisting to the right, bending that right arm, feeding the left arm through so you can feel the movement of the rib cage around the band. And we're going to press into the right arm. Try not to swing the hips to the left as you open up to the left. And again, so Pilates is often about resistance, resisting a movement that your body really wants to do, trying to counterpose it with opposition. So as your hips are trying to swing to the left, What does it take to resist that movement? Let's do 3 more. And lift. What are your shins doing? Are they wanting to lift up? Can you feel that they're nice and grounded? Let's do 2 more. Rest if you need to, if it's going into your shoulders or your wrist. Lift. This side's definitely harder for me, so you might find that one side you're kind of thriving, and then the other side feels like it's torture. Lift. That's definitely my torture side. Open the knees a little bit wider. Let's rest back. We're going to keep, unfortunately, the band. Oh, actually, no, we're not going to keep it around our back, so you can just rest it around and come into rest position. Now, this will be an interesting experiment for all of us. What we're going to do for the next one, if you roll yourself up, is we're going to start getting our glute muscles firing. So important for just life generally, but certainly for effective walking and running, and if you want to get your knees working okay, glutes are where it's at. So I just couldn't work out how to do this in any kind of elegant, useful way. So what I ended up doing was taking the band, placing my foot in it. You have to watch first to work out where you're going before you can sort of work out what I'm trying to do. Then I took the band and fed my thumbs around the top, and then I took my leg back, and that's where I want to be. So the band is around the foot. Your hands are underneath the shoulders. Your knees are underneath the hips, and your toe is your toes are kind of curled under so that you've got your band secure in space. Now, if you don't want to use the band, or if your band feels too tense for this, that's totally fine. You can do it without the band. It's absolutely not a problem. It is quite hard work keeping it stable with the band. So if you want to do fewer repetitions than I do, etc., then do as ever.
Agnes, have you got the bands in both your hands?
While you're all getting your bands sort of in place and stuff, just have a look and you can watch what we're going to do. So we're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, think about that really strong foundation. So drawing up through your center, lifting those abdominals, relaxing the shoulders. So your torso is really nice and stable. We're going to just send the leg away directly behind you. So just straightening it, but flexing through the heel, and then bringing it back directly underneath the hip once more. That's all we're doing. We're trying not to shift the hips from side to side. We're trying not to dip in the hip and lift that bum up to the ceiling. It's all about just simple precision and getting that glute muscle to work and your stabilizing muscles. So take a breath in, relax the shoulders. As you breathe out, let's press that leg away just to hip height or a bit lower, and then bring it back with control. So working against the resistance, but sort of allowing it to help you. And again, sending that leg away, firing up the glute, and then bring it back. If you feel your hamstrings kicking in too much, think about really asking the buttock to help you. So sending that heel away, and then using the bum still to allow it to come back in towards you. 2 more, send it away, and bring it back. Last one, long waist on either side. See if you feel that you're shortening on that left side. Oh, and then just rest yourself down for a moment. Let the band soften, because we've got to go and put it on the other side now. Take a breath in. So either bring that leg forward and swap over if that was a useful way for you, or see if you can choreograph it in a way that feels right for you. Part of the fun, going through these kind of transitions. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, my shoulders often really bear the brunt of any work like this that I do. So I want you in between each repetition, just to be aware of your shoulders, be aware of how you're carrying the top half of your body, and really let that tension go before you start the next round. How did I do it last time? I did that. Oh, there we go. Very different on one side. So, while I fiddle around with mine, I always demonstrate on my slightly more capable side, and that's a terrible idea, because then you're left with your less capable side. Okay, so let's start on the other side when you're ready, no rush. Finding that sense of length through the spine, finding the breath into the abdominals, lifting up through your center, relaxing the shoulders, taking a breath in. As you breathe out, let's find the back of the leg, the buttocks, and the heel away. And then with control, drawing it back in. So imagine like a spring extending directly behind you, so not wandering out to the side, and bringing it back. 3 more, extended away. And back. Last 2. And back. Last one, notice if one side you're kind of wandering your bum from one side to the other more than you were on the other side. Am I doing an extra one? I don't know. Back through centre. Oh, well done, guys. Oh, let's ping the band away for a moment. Lower yourself onto your back to recover from this. So rolling down, or just assist yourself down with your hands and bring the knees into the chest. So I really want you to let the head, let the shoulders completely relax. If you need a pillow, take a pillow. Now my relaxation or rest position of choice is to come into a little butterfly stretch. So the hands between the center of the knees, holding onto the shin of the ankles, and just let the knees and the hips release away. But you might feel actually that you want the knees together. So just choose whichever version feels right for you, and breathe. So because we've been quite tightly coiled up like a spring, working against resistance, we're now going to really soften and open for a moment to counterbalance what we've just done. So you might want to just check you've got enough pillows nearby, so that if you do need a bit of assistance to create the movement, you've got like a little extra padding on either side for your spine to give you a little bit of support. So what we're going to do, just watching first, is coming into our double knee fold position. We're going to take the arms nice and wide, and we're going to lower with control all the way down to one side. So this is where you might want maybe even a pillow in between your knees, or certainly underneath the knees, to make sure that it doesn't feel like too much of a stretch for the top of the body. We're going to take that left hand either to the top of your right knee or out to the side, and this right arm reaches all the way out to the right, and you're going to look over to the right side. And I want you just to breathe here for a moment and see how that feels. With this right arm, it's quite nice to draw kind of half snow angels very slowly, and find the point where you get the nicest stretch for you and stay there. So for me, that's around, if I was doing a clock face, it would be around kind of 10 on the clock face with a slightly bent arm. Or whatever works for you. I want you to really feel like you can soften and open through the body. So let's feel heavy through the legs, supported and grounded through the arms and shoulders. Breathing into any and all spaces that you can find in the body. If it doesn't feel comfortable in the shoulders to spread them like that, just allow your hands to rest on the hips and let the shoulders release and just sort of soften to gravity a bit. So don't force it if it doesn't feel comfortable. Breathe. And when you are ready, you can either keep the feet down onto the floor if it felt a bit much, lowering them down, or a bit more strength needed through your center. We're going to keep the knees connected and bring the legs back up to center. Breathing in, breathing out with control, lowering down, hip roll, and then all the way to the floor. So again, with a pillow if you need, maybe in between the knees, maybe underneath that bottom leg. Taking the top hand initially just to the top of that thigh, maybe just sort of letting the hips open a bit more, and then this left arm, reach it out to find that sense of space. So maybe kind of help your rib cage organize itself, releasing and up and opening, looking over that left shoulder, maybe bending that left arm, letting your body find its softness. Breathing in. If it's too strong at any point, just bring the feet closer to the bum, bring the knees closer in towards you so that you're not putting too much strain into the hips. We just want to kind of work with whatever feels like a necessary stretch rather than a strain. And then when you're ready, bring it back in through center. Releasing the feet down one by one. And then from here, I want you to grab your band again. We're going to do a little bit of abdominal work, and then we're going to come back to some of these stretching to finish. So, taking the band in between your hands, about shoulder width apart now. So we're taking it not as wide as we did for our standing or kneeling exercise. And if you want, you can wrap the ends around slightly so you have a bit less slack, but also you feel more supported. I'm folding my fingertips over. And then I just want you to sort of let the shoulder blades connect. So feel that same sense of feedback, just like you did against the wall when we were trying to feel the back of our body. So we just want to be aware of what's going on around the shoulder blades, soften those armpits, spread the collarbones. Take a breath in. So there's no lax tension in between the band. I want you to feel like you've got a bit of tension here, so it's enough feedback for this, the distance, the space between your arms. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, just lengthen the arms back behind you as far as you can go without peeling the ribs off the mat. So we're keeping quite heavy through that bottom rib. Breathing in, come back up to the ceiling. Two more like that. On the out breath, connecting the ribs to the floor as you lengthen the arms back. And breathe in to come back. So only go as far as it feels okay and safe for the shoulder joint. So if that's there, that's totally fine. And back through center. I want you just to lower your band down just to about hip height, or towards above your hips, if you see what I mean. Breathing in. As you breathe out, fold your left knee in, press it into the band and release it down. Other side, right knee in, press it into the band and release it down. So we're trying to create our own resistance here to fire up our core muscles. Let's do that 2 more times. Pressing into the band, little pressure back and sort of little interplay between your band and your knees. Pressing in, pressing back and lower. 1 more either side. Breathing out, fold. Breathe in, release. Breathing out, fold. Breathing in. Release. Breathing out, send the arms back behind you. Now I want you to fold the knee in as the arms come in, and now send the leg away as the arms go back 3 more on this side. Bend the knee in, press the band. And reach the arms away as you lengthen the legs. Keep the torso really supported here. So we're trying not to ping the ribs to the ceiling. Keep the abdominals really switched on. Last one. And lengthen. And then release that foot down. Release the arms back to the ceiling. Let's go to the other leg. So we're going to bend the knee in, press the arms, and then lengthen away, reach. And bend the knee in, press the arms, or press the band rather against the thigh, and then reach away. 3 more. And reach. So really keep the abdominals active here. Think about the torso. You don't want it to move or to break the rib cage hip connection. Last one. Bend the knee in. And I want you to stay in this bent position with the knee. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, float the left knee in too. Okay, so there are going to be 2 levels for this. We're either going to go into quite a gentle single leg stretch where you basically do what we were doing before, but with both legs lifted. Or if you want a little bit of more abdominal engagement, we're going to come into more of a full single leg stretch. Same thing, lowering the legs a little bit lower and with your curl up. But if you feel that that's in any way too much either for the neck or for the abdominals, bring it back to this level whenever you want to. Okay, so relax the shoulders into your double knee fold position if you're not already there. Take a breath in. If you're going to curl up, I want you to stabilize first, lifting through the abdominals into the pelvic floor, and then nod the chin to the chest and curl up. So we want to keep the arms quite sort of straight if you can. Use the band rather than bending the elbows too much. Breathing in. As you breathe out, sending the left leg away, and then draw it back into the band as you send the right leg away. And in, and change. Keep curled up, so looking sort of down towards your thigh bones, towards your pubic bone. Reach away. Nice and long through the neck. 2 more either side. You can rest your head down at any point, keeping those legs as high as you need to, so it's not going into your back. Last one. Bring the knees in. Well done, guys. Rolling from side to side. Let's take the right foot down, float the left knee in, and take the band around your foot. Bending the elbows, keep the knee bent for now. This right leg is bent too, unless you quite like the feeling of extending it already, in which case, go for your life. Taking a breath in, make sure your pelvis is quite stable. So I want to just check, maybe by rocking the pelvis forward and back, how that affects your thigh. And then stabilize the pelvis. Tailbone lengthening towards your heels, pelvis supported by your abdominals as opposed to rocking into the floor. So nice and long, free spine, relax the shoulders. You're going to then extend the leg softly. It doesn't have to straighten, but I want you to feel the back of the leg elongating as you press the heel away. And then I want you to take your band. You can have it either in one hand, or actually it's fine to keep it in 2. We're going to take a breath in to bring the big toe across to the right hip, and breathe out to circle your leg all the way around and back up. Breathe in to come across, breathe out, circle and back up. In to come across, breathe out, circle. Now these circles can be as small as you want them to be. I want you to feel that you can go as far as you can without disturbing your torso. So we don't want to be flailing the body around or the hips around. So only go as far as you can, keeping the pelvis quite stable. Let's pause at the top. Breathe in to come out. Breathe out to come around. And you might find that with the leg lower, you've got a bit more range of movement, but you're also a little bit less stable. I'm going to do 5 in either direction. Circle round and up. Breathing in to come out. Breathing out to circle, last 2. Or I'm on my last 2. Last 1. And back through center. That feels really nice on the leg. Let's do a couple of pointing and flexing at the top. Maybe a little bit of circling. And then you're going to soften that knee in, float the right leg in 2, take the right foot in the band. And lower either the foot down or extend the leg if that's what you do on the other side. Just pause for a moment here, just noticing how the body feels with this right leg bent with the pelvis, maybe tilt forward and back a couple of times. Heavy tailbone, soft shoulders. Breathing in, breathing out, extending into the hamstring without closing the spine on the floor. So see if you can keep the spine long. Breathing in. As you breathe out, let's just sort of draw into your center a little bit more to support. Now that you know what's coming in the body, notice if you can sort of resist any movement that the torso wants to make. We're going to breathe in to come across to that left hip with the big toe, and then breathe out, down and around and back up. Breathing in to come across. Breathe out, down and around and back up. Cross, down and around and back up. 2 more. Last one. Pause and go the other way. This is where I extended it before. You might already be there. Let's come across and down and around and back up. Relax the shoulders. Check in with the pelvis. Notice if you're kind of flailing the hips around. See if you can lengthen both sides of the waist evenly. And control the movement. See if you can keep the movement maybe a little bit smaller if it's going all the way into the bum and the hips. So we want to just oil the thigh joint, the thigh bone in its socket like a cocktail stick in a glass. Last one. And then from here, pointing and flexing a few times without twanging the band if you can. Circling the ankle. And then just softly float the band to the floor. Bring the knees into your chest. Little glute stretch before we come into our final little relaxation. So take your left foot across your right knee. Check in with the hips, make sure they haven't swiveled, shortened on the right side of the waist. As you draw the right knee in towards you, you can use your band here if that feels better for you. So feeding the band around the back of the right thigh and using it to help you kind of hoist your right knee in towards you. If you're like this without a band, that's cool, but as long as your shoulders aren't up towards the ears and your chin isn't up to the ceiling. So you want to feel like you can stay as open through the chest as possible here. Breathe into that glute stretch. And release it down. Change to the other side. And fold the leg in. Relax the shoulders. Breathe. And then lowering the feet back down. Let's just take both feet down for a moment, bring them to mat width apart and windscreen wipe the legs. As slowly or as swiftly as you feel comfortable. It's quite nice to do it quite quickly if that's what your body's craving, but it's also really lovely to do it mindfully and open up that top hip. So really send the top hip away when you're rotating. Notice any tension that might have gathered there through sitting all day, if that's what you've been doing. I'm kind of talking to myself there. And back through center. And then just gently organise yourself in whichever position feels comfortable for you. So whether that's legs on the sofa, on the bed, legs up the wall, legs in a little butterfly, over a bolster, etc. Choosing the position that feels comfortable for you. Make yourself as comfortable as you possibly can. The first rule of self-compassion: be comfortable. Seek comfort like a cat. And then once you've found your comfortable spot, just gently notice and observe your breathing. Allow yourself to softly connect to your heart rate, whether that's with a hand on your heart center or just softly tuning in. And see if you can expand your breath around your heart center. So really sort of imagining it like the central orb, pulsating, lovely, warm, glowing light. See if you can softly slow the exhalation as you deepen the inhalation. Knowing that you're calming and soothing your nervous system. You're alerting it to the safety of your situation. Saying that it's okay to drop its guard. So allow yourself now to meander to the rest of the body, so not just the breathing. Maybe begin with the toes as we started, feathering them in space or connecting to whatever feedback they have around them. And then softly noticing the body up from the ankle joints, through the legs, into your hips, the thighs and the buttocks. Around the abdomen, see if you can fully let go there and allow the breath to expand. Returning to that soft pull through the center, the glowing light, the gentle pulsating, the opening, the rhythm of the breath, your heart. And then just traveling through the arms to the fingertips, traveling up to the jaw, the neck, cheeks, the forehead. Commit to this lovely serenity for as long as you would like to stay here. And next week is our final session. I was thinking we could do a nice small ball session, if you feel comfortable. So again, no worries if you don't want one or don't want to, or you haven't got one. We can do all the exercises equally without a small ball, but if you do have one, bring it to hand next week. And I will leave you there. Have a lovely rest of your night. Stay soft and calm as you into your slumber. See you next week, guys.